Love 29. We don't know how to die. When we learn to die, we will learn to live, and our war will end. A Woman of Abiyala. 1. Killing and maiming prohibited as part of warring. Maximum effort put to public health care. Minimal to funeral cover. At death, the impossible becoming possible. 2. Harvests rendering more to the land than taking. The only goods, those whose production allows 7 more generations to thrive. The only burning, candles and sun. 3. Touching the soul, the object of not only death and religion, deep laughter celebrated as much as raw tears, depression expressed in batik and origami for those not experiencing it. 4. Recyclers trading trash for seedlings, leaf sweepers that also build vessels for raindrops and collect common and rare seeds, school buses delivering children along with money in the form of flowers. 5. Novelists tasked with interviewing loved ones of the dead to write obituaries. Healers that turn tangled emotions into sailboats and parachutes. Pilots doubling as doulas. 6. Acupuncture by morticians to prepare wombs for birthing. Police officers practicing yoga to keep the peace. Doctors, nurses, sangomas, shamans, treating individuals and communities by monitoring the state of air, land, water. 7. Singers translating cinematography into songs for the blind. Painters depicting music for the deaf. Griots, sadhus, priests chanting together. 8. Couriers training on stationary cycles, creating organ wind. Part of the work of lawyers, child minding while lovers date. Plumbers that also teach how to bathe newborns. 9. Turkish baths, Thai massage, Moroccan black soap, shea butter free for all. Firefighters teaching Daichi to young, middle, old. Teachers learning a new subject yearly from students. And the poem ends with 3 vertical dots, if you can see it there.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that one of the things that I love, and what a great way to close out your work, is often in the arguments about if another world is possible, the stance from the other side is, well, what does it look like? How do we know it's better? And often it's a very it's a trap. It's a rhetorical trap, first of all. But second of all, usually when folks on our side fall for that trap, it's we come up with very mechanical, functional, lower level survival based answers.
Mm.
And so what I love about the way you close out this work, this list that you provide, is they are al- they're alive. They have life in them, and they're snapshots of what a society that could be different, and one that maintains love as a wide-ranging priority could be. And your examples are not science fiction. In fact, they seem to be bridges to how we operate now, and so police doing yoga. For everyone that says defund the police, I'm sure the police are like, well, what are we to do? And you're like, I have an answer for you. And so I I uh I love how in this one piece there's warmth, but it answers that I sat in academic meetings for years and did not hear or feel safe providing. And so there's so much in there, and it's amazing. And I I would love to live in a world. I would love to live in the world that you literally painted on that work, but I would also love to live in a world where that could be the sort of brainstorming and next society experimenting that we could take on together.
And so in that sense, the book is an appeal to a lot of us who have questions, who are critical, who are organizing. It's still something that we don't really talk about much of this stuff in the book.
Yeah, where they are those who benefit from how things are right now, they they own our souls, our minds, and our hearts. We're so focused on simply shaving down what they are that it's a rare treat to see a flourishing of what we could be. And it's why I think your work is such uh, a needed contribution.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There have been some reviews of this book, which hasn't happened with many of my other books. I mean, like maybe one review per book, but this book has had maybe three.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they aren't tapping into this type of conversation that you and I are having now. And that really does depict the challenge that we are faced with, right? It is very hard to imagine beyond the structures of thinking, organizing society that we are caught in. It is very hard. So, a lot of the poems about places are metaphors for something bigger, but the reviews will only stop at, oh, she talks about so many cities around the world.
Right.
And it brings to mind a poem that was mentioned in one of the reviews, and I wrote it in Binghamton after I had been on my first trip to Mexico City.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad you got to go to one of the hotbeds of life before you had to return to one of the barren wastelands that used to house our university.
So this is on Love 7. So,
Okay.
originally the poem was published in a feminist journal,
Oh,
feminist community-based journal. It wasn't an academic journal. We called it a journal, but it was basically like a feminist magazine, and it was done on newspaper print and circulated for free in Binghamton.
that's awesome.
So they published it. Well, I was part of the editorial committee. And at that time, it was called Mexico City 1999, which is when it was written. But see, later on, I realized this is On Love 7. So it's called Mexico City or On Love 7. Zigzag down across, side across, zigzag, breathing of a Mexican singer of Lebanese origin, chant of an old woman selling peanut cream candy, words, snakes and steps of pyramids older than Aztecs, rows of seats in inverted pyramid of the world's largest bullfighting arena, gray tattered homes on gray hills in the belt of misery, northern Mexico City, motif on the 1787 castle in Chapultepec, historical forest first settled by Aztecs on permission of the Tecpanic sacred forest to Aztec noble home, to home of men the likes of Cortez, little boy clown, balloons for buttocks, winding in traffic in search of pesos, friends pacing the dance floor of a gay antro, acting like models with too much on their minds, crowded bus zigzagging through vendors and stalls in a street crowded like Cairo, posters protesting privatization of all this hybridizing, cacti spines spitting across sky. In the same place where I saw nothing but scraps yesterday, today I see the rusty roof of someone's shack. Today, unlike the first day, in the same heart of the same city, bare cracked feet, and in the north, green growing through the gray. A woman with a cane gets on the bus. I leave my seat for her. Nimble young man gets there before her. Every time a seat is freed, someone gets there before her. Today, I know how it feels to not be able to speak out because the language is not yet familiar. Here is a building on fire. Here is an accident in an ancient modern silver mine just outside the ciudad. Girl combing another girl's hair. Market flaunting flowers, herbs, bright plastic, black magic. Church devil and the people in awe. Woman flipping blue tortillas in a tianguis, filling them with squash flowers, stringy cheese and meats, folding them over, gently tucking in bits which always slip out, always slip out. A sultry travel agent giving her brother pocket money so he can live the life of late teenage. 3 teenagers, maybe brothers, sleeping in the same car, same street, every night of the week. Suave bureaucrat paying for school books for the attendant of the 24-hour lot where he parks his car. Zigzag down across, side across, zigzag. Plenty of anonymous paintings, of plenty of anonymous people and things in everyday being on exhibit here in this stucco mudéjar Baroque building built of plenty of anonymous sentiments by plenty of anonymous hands.